Welcome back to Open Line here on NewsChannel 5 Plus, everybody, on this Thursday night as we discuss the bill that has passed the House and Senate to require the burial or cremation of fetal remains following an abortion. Our guest is Representative London Lamar, and on the phone is Joe, who's waited patiently. Hi, Joe. Go ahead.
Hello. Years ago, my wife and I had an abortion. And if there would have been a place like a church group or something that would have helped us, there's no way that we would have had an abortion. Which now, I don't, is there such a thing today that if a woman wanted that option, that she could go to a church group or something that would help them if they wanted to have that child and, you know, maybe have a job in the future or something, or if they, you know, but that's basically, I'll hang up and and hopefully.
Let's listen to that. We'll listen in. Thank you, Joe, for the call. We really appreciate it. Go ahead, Representative.
Thank you, Joe, for your call. And again, I know the idea of having an abortion is a very difficult situation, and I know it was a very difficult situation for you and your family, for any family to have to make that decision. From my understanding, you know, there are charities out there to help with making that decision. If you wanted to seek adoption as an option, didn't want to have an abortion, but can't at the time be an parent, adoption is an option in Tennessee, and the legislature really encourages adoption. And there are charities and agencies out there to help you through that process. So yes, there are options. And that is the part of women's choice that I want to go back to. It is the idea of being able to make the best decision for yourself and your family. And that includes adoption, it includes abortion access, and it includes options for women who want to have their kids to be able to do that in a healthy way. So we need to make sure we are creating a state where not only certain options are available, but all options are available. And there are organizations who embody that we need to offer families options, and so they can have to make the best decision for them and their family.
Let me kind of bore down here and get to kind of what I think can be the heart of this issue is whether or not someone considers this the fetal remains, as it's called in the bill, fetal remains, which is definitely kind of a technical medical term. Some people say this is human life. Other people say, no, at this period, it is medical tissue. Do you think that is where we're at here, and that maybe some opponents will say this is a group of people who have a certain religious value system, but they're trying to impose those values on the broader population when they're absolutely entitled to feel the way they do? It's a controversial topic, but you can't impose it on the entire population.
Absolutely. That is a great question. I know it's a very controversial question. I would say if my first answer is let's rely on the Constitution to lead our definition of what is life, what is not. The Constitution grants a woman the ability to access abortion care up until a certain number of weeks based on medical data and science of what is considered our ability, a fetus's ability to actually live and survive. Medically, fetuses aren't considered viable until about 23 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So it's over halfway into a pregnancy before that pregnancy is even viable or that baby can survive outside of the womb. If I'm not mistaken, you can't have an abortion in Tennessee past 20 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and if max 4 weeks. So you cannot have an abortion at a point where a child is viable in the first place. So I do think that we need to rely on the science and what the doctors and the Constitution has put in place of what life truly is. Again, people have a difference of thought process on this issue. And we have to respect the differences in opinions on these issues and allow people to make the decision that's best for themselves, their family, and their body, and be able to rely on the science that is brought to us by our trusted doctors who are the experts on this issue.
All right, let's go to line 2 and welcome in Teresa. Hi, Teresa.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Yes, my question is, talk about that it's a fetus and now they're wanting to do cremation of the ashes.
Yep.
And my question is, how can you do a so-called fetus? Why would you need to do a cremation? Is the first question.
Well, according to the bill, they're saying that it's about dignity that it's a human life and that there should be dignity. Is that correct, Representative?
Yes, it's the claim is to bring dignity to human life. That is their claim.
Okay, and the second question is, if they have, I don't guess it's a question. I think if they have an abortion, I don't think they should be allowed to have any more children. Because, I mean, they're taking a human life. This is an unborn child just like we were.
Okay.
And they're going to take and destroy this human life. So, I mean, these people cannot be religious or believe or go to church or believe in God, because if they did, they could not take this child's life.
Okay. Yeah, that could be the case. They could be, an atheist if they so choose. But do you think that should be the law of the entire state and apply to everyone?
Well, I mean, it's everybody's own opinion.
Yeah.
Because you can't argue with everyone about it.
Yeah.
Of course, I wouldn't argue about it. But the thing about it is, if number one, if it's not a human life, then there shouldn't have to be a cremation, number one. So it's a fetus. So they're considering it's not really nothing. But yet they're also contradicting themselves, because now they're talking about a birth certificate. Now they're talking about cremation.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's not a human, you shouldn't have to have a birth certificate, or it shouldn't have to be cremated.
Right, and that's what opponents are saying. They're saying that they shouldn't have to, and those who support the bill say they believe it is human life. It's not medical tissue. It's human life, and it should be either buried or cremated. That's the point of the bill.
Yeah, I mean, and I totally agree, because it should be. I mean, because it is a human life. And they talk about it is the woman's right. What about the unborn child? How many people have held their newborn baby in their arms? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing at 9 months versus 2 weeks later when you have a child. Does someone want something to happen to their child when it's born?
Sure. Thank you, Teresa. I understand. Again, people share a wide variety of opinions about this, and it's obviously it's a pretty emotional, hot-button topic, Representative.
Yeah, I mean, look, and that's her personal opinion, and I respect her opinion, and that is the benefit of being pro-choice, is being able to make the decision that's best for you and your family. Roe v. Wade is the law of the land. Abortion will never be outlawed, and case after case has failed in the Supreme Court to allow women to continue to access this service. Because again, let's think about the victims of rape. Let's think about the victims of incest. Or what about the women who would die from pregnancy? I know family members who could not have children and have died from pregnancy. I've been through situations where I may not be able to access that option. You never know what women have to go through. And it's not fair that they have to choose to go through something that could potentially kill them and not be able to access this service that allows themselves to live, if anything. So again, women have to make the best decision for themselves and their families, and making the decision to have an abortion is not an easy a decision for any woman. And I don't know any woman who's made the decision who boasts or proudly talks about making a decision. Yeah. It's a tough decision. Again, so I will leave it there.
Teresa, thank you for your call and your thoughts. We do value everyone's opinion here, and we appreciate it. Let's go to Lily up next. Hi, Lily.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead. Yeah, turn your TV down. Just talk over the phone. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. I was just trying to find out, before all this came about, how much was an abortion?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I was wondering, how much was an abortion before this came about? And also, what were they doing with the fetuses that were aborted before all this came out? Where did the fetuses go?
Okay, good question. Hold on right there. We'll listen in.
So there is already a process in place set in stone by medical and hospital standards. Some of the same procedures that they keep in place in hospitals to finish the process of human remains that you use with surgery or any other procedure. Those standards are still in place. So they are already taken care of with dignity. There are standards that have to be put in place. There are companies that discard of the fetuses in a way that is put in, that has to meet medical standards, which already put dignity in place. So there's already a process in place, and this just changes that process to make it there. It forces the abortion clinics or the patient to use cremation or burial as the end result versus the processes that are already in place that are used at all our hospitals and our medical facilities that are already safe. So if you've ever had a procedure or anything done or had to have some sort of parts of your body taken out or two for the matter, it is already processes in place to finish out their process.
All right, with that, we're going to take a break. Now we've got the flood of calls coming in. We've got Jill, Kalia, and Cheryl on hold. You're in the queue. We will get to you after this break. Thanks for being patient.